Hi guys, my name is Demas Rusli, and today I'm going to be showing you how to do a day to night time lapse as well as how to create a time slice edit. So to get started, the first thing you're going to need is a tripod or something to put your camera on so it's steady. The next thing you're going to need is an intervalometer, and in my case it's built into the camera. And the third thing you're going to need is an epic view that goes from sunset to night with preferably lots of clouds. So let's get started and I'll show you the settings I'm going to do. Set your tripod up so it won't move and it's solid. Once you got your tripod set up, what you're going to do is you want to try to frame the city. I think I'm going to go for something like this. For the camera settings, I put it at intervals of 8 seconds. And what you want to do is put it on aperture mode and lock your ISO. So in this case, I've put my ISO at 400 because I know it's going to get dark. So the 400 compensates for it. And for the aperture, I've gone for 5.6. And yeah, so the shutter speed should just adjust as it gets darker and darker and darker. So yeah, let's begin and hopefully we get a banger sunset. Alright guys, just go back to the hotel room. Let's jump on the computer and I'll show you how to edit this. First, we're going to open up Lightroom and import all the time-lapse files. I've already put the shots into its own folder so it is much easier to manage. We're going to go through Lightroom first because I shoot everything in RAW only, so we need to export the files as JPEGs first. If you had shot everything in JPEG or JPEG and RAW, you could skip the step and move on to the Adobe Premiere part. Once I've imported all the time-lapse shots into Lightroom, I did a super light touch edit. In this case, I straightened the vertical and horizontal lines using the geometry tool and tweaked the sliders in the basic panel so I can just get a good base. This is completely subjective and up to you and how you like to edit your images because we're going to be adjusting the colors later in more detail in Adobe Premiere as the time-lapse changes from day to night. Once you're happy with this base edit, copy the settings and paste them to all the other images in the set. Then, export all the images out into a new folder in a sequence so they are numbered starting from 1. The exporting process might take a while depending on the speed of your computer, but you can speed this process up a bit by adjusting the image size of the export. In this case, however, I have left it at full resolution so I can have more flexibility in the final composition in Adobe Premiere.
2 hours later.
Once all the JPEGs are exported, you want to open up Adobe Premiere and start a new file. You should be able to use any other video editing software too to do this. Once it's opened, select File, then Import, and find the folder that all the JPEGs were saved to. Click the first image and then make sure image sequence is ticked on, and then hit Import. Drag the imported file onto the timeline. Then type in 2000 in the time bar to move the cursor to the 20-second mark, and while holding R, you want to drag the end of the clip towards the 20-second mark. The reason we are doing this is because there will be 20 slices for this time slice edit. If you want to do more or less slices, then adjust the clip length in seconds so that it is equal to the number of slices. Next, you want to click Sequence up the top and then Sequence Settings. Change the frame size to 1536 by 1920, which is 4:5 ratio and what I like to use to post on Instagram. I also changed the time base to 23.976 frames per second, but this doesn't really matter too much in this case. Then we're going to adjust the composition of this time-lapse by adjusting the scale and positioning. I have already created my own set of rule of thirds guidelines to help with this. To create guidelines, drag them across from the rulers on the side and the top. Just make sure you do a bit of math to find out what 1536 and 1920 divided by 3 are. Now that we've got our composition set, let's color grade this time-lapse. First, go down to the bottom and create a new adjustment layer. And then you want to drag this adjustment layer to the track above the time-lapse and extend it so it matches the length. Next, using the Lumetri color panel on the right, you can adjust the colors and tones however you like for the first frame. This is almost exactly the same as editing in Lightroom. I only edit mainly the basic correction and the creative panels, as these are the ones we can keyframe later on. Then, on the left Effect Controls panel, you want to expand the basic corrections and creative tabs and click on the stopwatch icons on all the fields to create keyframes. Next, type in 400 in the time bar, and using the Effect Controls panel, you want to color grade this frame of the time lapse, which is the 4-second mark. Automatic keyframes will be created. Repeat this for the 8-second mark, the 12-second mark, the 16-second mark, and finally the 20-second mark. For the 20-second mark, color grade one frame before it and then drag all the keyframes to the end. You can edit more than 5 points if you want, but I find that 5 points is enough. Color grading at each of these 5 points is completely subjective, and you should color grade and adjust the sliders to your own preference. By keyframing the Lumetri color edits, the tones should transition smoothly between the keyframes and from day to night. Once you're done with this, export this timelapse out. Go to File, Export, and use the default settings. Once that's done, go to File and create a new sequence. Drag in that exported timelapse clip into the new sequence. The reason I did this was because if I didn't, Adobe Premiere would be extremely slow, trying to process the timelapse 20 times when we create the time slice. My laptop is already quite powerful, but it still can't handle it, so we have to export it out first. Now here's the fun part. In the effects panel, search for crop and drag that effect onto the clip. Type in 95% for the left side and leave everything else at 0%. This will be the first slice. Next, type in 100 in the time bar to snap the cursor to the 1 second mark. While holding Alt, drag the original clip into the track above to duplicate it. Make sure the start is at the 1 second mark. Now adjust the crop settings to be 90% left and 5% right. This will be the second slice. Let's do this again. Type in 200 in the time bar and while holding Alt, drag the second clip up to the third track, starting at the 2 second mark. Now adjust the crop settings to be 85% left and 10% right. You should now be able to see a pattern. Repeat this until you reach the 20-second mark. If you're going to be doing more slices, then you need to divide 100 by the number of slices to figure out how to adjust the crop settings accordingly. Once you have repeated this step until the very end, you should have a timeline that looks like this. Now at the 20-second mark, you want to select all the clips and then hit Ctrl or Command K to cut all the clips at this point. Then select all the clips past the 20-second mark and drag them back to the beginning to fill in the gaps. Select every clip and right-click and nest them into one single track. Then right-click and hit Speed Duration and tick the Reverse Speed box. This will make the slices move from left to right instead of right to left. This is personal preference and up to you on how you want your time slice to look like. Next, drag in a song or audio file into the sequence. I found this track on Epidemic Sounds, which is the website I subscribe to get my music. You can also find royalty-free songs off YouTube and use an MP3 RIP website to download music too. Now find a part of the song where it starts to loop again and cut it so that the music loops endlessly like this. Finally, while holding R and adjusting the video track, you can play around with the speed of the time slice and time it to the beat of the song. You can also have a play by reversing it too. Just experiment until you find what works best for you. The very last step is to recolor grade this whole edit. To do this, you're going to go down to the bottom and then create a new adjustment layer. Drag the adjustment layer onto the clip above the time slice. Extend the adjustment layer so it's the full length of the clip. And once again, with the adjustment layer selected, you want to tweak the settings in the Lumetri color panel. Adjust each slider until you're happy with the final edit. This time, because I'm not doing any keyframing, I'm going to dive a little bit further and adjust the curves panel, especially the hue saturation curves. Once you're done, go to File, hit Export, and again use the default settings. I also tick on maximum render depth too. And we're done. Here's the final edit that I posted onto Instagram. If you guys create one of these after watching this tutorial, make sure you tag me at Demas on your Instagram post so I can see them. So I hope you found that tutorial useful. Comment below what tutorial you want me to make next. If you like this video, make sure you hit the like button. And if you want to see more videos like this, make sure you subscribe. Thanks so much for watching and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!